The inspector's boots echo across cobblestones. Marie Blanchard stands in the doorway of her barn, watching him approach. Her hands do not shake. She learned long ago that showing fear invites predators. He carries a ledger, brown leather, government seal. Inside that book are numbers that will decide whether her children eat next winter. Behind her, in the darkness of the barn, stands the last horse, 17 years old, too old for cavalry, too slow for artillery transport, but strong enough to pull a plow through 30 hectares of spring wheat. The wheat that must be planted in 8 days, or the harvest fails, the harvest that feeds 300 soldiers at Verdun, or feeds her family. The inspector stops 3 meters away. His uniform is clean, no mud, no blood. He has never been to the front lines, though he wears the authority of those who have. Madame Blanchard, he says, I am here for the agricultural census. All livestock must be registered for potential military requisition. Marie knows what this means. She has received 3 such visits since the war began. Each time, they took something. First, her 2 draft horses gone to pull supply wagons. Then, her husband's tools melted down for shell casings. Last autumn, they requisitioned 60% of her grain stores, leaving barely enough seed for spring planting. Now they want the last horse. Without that horse, the farm dies. Without the farm, her children die. Without farms like hers, the soldiers at Verdun die. It is 11:27 in the morning, March 14th, 1916. In 6 hours, the inspector will write a number in his ledger. That number will be either a death sentence or a reprieve. This is the story of how Marie Blanchard reached that moment and what she chose to do about it. Marie wakes at 4:43 in the morning. No alarm clock. Her body knows the rhythm. 37 years of rising before dawn have trained her bones to recognize that particular quality of darkness, the kind that comes just before the world begins. She lies still for 7 seconds, listening. No shells. The front line is 62 kilometers northeast, close enough to hear the barrage when wind blows from Verdun, far enough that most nights pass in silence. This is a silent night, which means either the battle has paused or the wind has shifted. She chooses not to speculate which. The bed is empty beside her. Henri left for the front 11 months ago. His last letter arrived 6 weeks past. 3 pages, careful handwriting. He described the mud, the cold, the rats. He did not describe the dying, but she could read it in the spaces between words, in the sentences that started strong and trailed into nothing. Marie sits up. The cold hits immediately. March in the Somme region brings frost that cuts through wool and cotton alike. She can see her breath in the moonlight, streaming through the single window. She dresses in the dark, practical motions, no mirror, same clothes as yesterday, a heavy woolen skirt, patched twice at the hem, a blouse that once belonged to her mother, 2 layers of stockings, both darned, wooden clogs that her father carved in 1870, during the last time Prussia invaded France. The irony is not lost on her. Downstairs, the kitchen waits in darkness. She does not light the lamp yet. Petroleum is rationed, 40 centiliters per household per month. She has used 31 centiliters already, and it is only the 14th of March. Every drop must be considered. Instead, she works by touch and memory. The stove, the kindling box, 3 pieces of wood oak, split last autumn when they still had enough fuel to be selective. Now they burn anything. Fence posts, furniture. Last week, she burned her wedding chair. Henri will never know. The fire catches. Orange light fills the kitchen, pushing back the dark. She sets the kettle on the heat, not real coffee that disappeared in 1915. Instead, chicory root and roasted barley. It tastes like dirt and bitterness, but it is hot, and heat matters more than flavor when your body is cold. While the water heats, Marie inventories the pantry. This is her daily ritual, the mathematics of survival: 4 loaves of bread, made with flour that is 60% wheat, 40% sawdust. The sawdust makes it last longer, even if it scrapes your throat going down. Half a wheel of cheese. From their last cow. They sold the cow in January for 300 francs. The money bought seed grain. Without seed grain, they cannot plant. Without planting, there is no harvest. Without harvest, they starve. This is the arithmetic of war. 6 potatoes, wrinkled, sprouting eyes that must be cut away before cooking. 1 jar of preserves, strawberry, from the summer of 1914, before the war came. She is saving it. For what, she does not know. But having something saved gives her the illusion of control. And the rations, government issue, delivered every Monday by a cart from town, distributed according to a formula that assumes one adult consumes 2,000 calories per day. The formula was designed by someone who has never worked a farm. Marie burns 3,000 calories before noon. She does the mathematics. 4 people in the household: herself, her mother-in-law, Clothilde, her daughter, Sophie, 11 years old, her son, Luc, 8 years old. The rations provide enough for 3 people. Someone must eat less. That someone is always Marie. The kettle whistles. She pours the ersatz coffee into a chipped ceramic cup, drinks it standing at the window, looking out at the farm. 30 hectares, inherited from her father, who inherited it from his father, who inherited it from his father. 5 generations of Blanchards working this soil. Wheat fields to the north. A small orchard to the east, apple trees, 12 of them, though 3 are dying from neglect. To the south, the vegetable garden. To the west, the barn. The barn where the last horse lives. The barn where, in 6 hours, the inspector will arrive. Marie finishes her coffee, sets down the cup, puts on her coat heavy canvas, stained with soil and sweat and the blood of animals slaughtered and preserved. She wraps a scarf around her head, not for warmth, to keep her hair out of her face while she works. At 5:17 in the morning, she steps outside. The air is sharp, clear, stars still visible in the west. To the east, the sky begins to pale. Sunrise in 43 minutes. She walks to the barn. Her boots crunch on frost-covered ground, each step deliberate. She is 41 years old, but her body feels 60. 2 decades of farm work, 3 pregnancies, 4 miscarriages, 11 months of doing the work of 3 people since Henri left. The barn door creaks. Inside, darkness and the smell of hay, manure, leather, old wood, familiar, comforting, and from the far stall, a soft nicker. The horse. Marie lights the small lamp that hangs by the door. Flame catches. Shadows leap across the walls. The horse is a mare, 17 years old, named Bella, gray coat going white around the muzzle, one ear slightly crooked from a kick she received as a yearling, too old for war, too slow for cavalry, but perfect for farming. Marie approaches slowly, speaks softly. The horse knows her voice, her smell, her touch. "Good morning, old girl," Marie says. "Are you ready to save the world today?" The horse does not answer, but she presses her nose into Marie's palm, warm breath, trust. Marie feeds her, oats, precious oats, worth their weight in gold. Each handful represents a calculation. If I feed the horse can work. If the horse can work, we can plant. If we can plant, we might survive. While Bella eats, Marie prepares the harness. Leather straps, iron buckles, everything must be checked. A broken harness in the field means losing half a day's work. Losing half a day's work means the planting schedule fails. The planting schedule failing means starvation next winter. She runs her hands along each strap, looking for weak points. Cracks. The leather is old, dry. She should oil it, but oil is another rationed commodity. So she inspects instead, finds 3 spots that worry her, makes a mental note to reinforce them tonight. At 6:02 in the morning, Clotilde appears in the barn doorway. Henri's mother, 64 years old, spine curved from decades of labor, hands twisted with arthritis, but still sharp, still strong in ways that matter. The children are awake, Clotilde says. They are asking about breakfast. Marie nods. I will come. The inspector arrives today. I know. What will you tell him? Marie does not answer immediately. She finishes buckling the harness, checks the bit, tests the reins. Finally, she says, I will tell him what I must. Clotilde studies her. Those old eyes see too much, understand too much. And if what you must tell him is not enough? Marie meets her gaze. Then I will do what I must do. This is not an answer, but it is all the answer she has. Breakfast is silent. 4 people around a wooden table, scarred with decades of use. The kitchen is warm now, heated by the stove, though Marie can feel the cold pressing against the windows, waiting to return. Sophie eats her portion slowly, making it last. She is 11, but small for her age. Malnutrition has stunted her growth. Before the war, she was plump and pink. Now she is thin and pale, but her eyes are bright, intelligent. She reads everything she can find. Yesterday, she read aloud from a newspaper that was 3 weeks old, reporting on the early days of Verdun. Luke eats quickly. He is 8, too young to fully understand the war, but old enough to feel its presence. He asks questions. Why is Papa gone? When will he return? Why can they not have meat anymore? Marie answers what she can and deflects the rest. Clotilde eats mechanically. Her attention is elsewhere, on the farm, on the work, on the mathematics of survival. Marie eats last. Her portion is smallest. She has become skilled at making it look larger than it is, spreading the bread thin, taking small bites, chewing slowly. The children do not notice, or if they notice, they do not mention it. At 6:47, Marie stands. Time to work. Sophie clears the table without being asked. She has learned to anticipate needs, to move efficiently, to waste nothing. The war has made her grow up too fast. Marie feels guilt about this, but guilt is a luxury she cannot afford. Luke follows Marie to the door. Can I help today, Maman? She looks down at him, 8 years old, eager, wanting to prove himself useful. But the work she must do today is dangerous, heavy, not for children. Not today, she says gently. Today you help Grandmère with the chickens. Disappointment crosses his face, but he does not argue. He has learned not to argue. At 7:03 in the morning, Marie and Clotilde walk to the field. The wheat field, 30 hectares, plowed last autumn before the ground froze. Now it waits, soil dark and rich, ready for seed. But the window for planting is narrow, 8 days, maybe 9 if the weather holds. After that, the season turns. The wheat will not have enough time to mature before harvest. The yield will be poor. The quotas will not be met. And if the quotas are not met, the government will take the farm. This is not speculation, this is policy. Marie has seen it happen to 3 neighbors already. Farms seized, families displaced. The land turned over to collective management groups of refugees from the occupied territories, supervised by agricultural officers who have never held a plow. Those collective farms produce 60% less than family farms. Everyone knows this, but the policy continues anyway, because the war demands efficiency, and efficiency, in wartime, means control. Marie and Clotilde begin the work. First, the cedar, a wooden contraption that Henri built in 1912. Designed to be pulled by a horse, with a mechanism that drops wheat kernels at precise intervals. Marie checks every component: the seed hopper, the distribution gears, the planting tubes. Everything must be perfect. They have exactly enough seed for one planting, no surplus, no room for error. While Marie works, Clotilde brings the seed, wheat kernels stored in burlap sacks in the barn loft. Each sack weighs 25 kilograms. Clotilde can barely lift them, but she manages, 1 sack at a time, dragging them when she cannot carry them. It takes 43 minutes to load the cedar. At 7:51, Marie returns to the barn, leads Bella out into the morning light. The horse steps carefully, feeling the frost-hard ground. Marie guides her to the cedar, begins the hitching process. This is delicate work. The harness must distribute the weight correctly. Too much pressure on the shoulders, the horse fatigues quickly. Too much on the withers, she develops sores. Marie has done this thousands of times. Her hands know the motions without thought. At 8:14, everything is ready. Marie takes the reins. Clotilde stands to the side, watching, checking. 2 pairs of eyes are better than 1. "Ready?" Marie asks. "Ready," Clotilde confirms. Marie clicks her tongue. Bella leans into the harness. The cedar begins to move. They make the first pass across the field. The mechanism works perfectly. Seeds drop in neat rows, cover themselves with soil. The mathematics of agriculture playing out in real time. But it is slow, painfully slow. 1 horse pulling a load designed for 2. Bella strains. Marie can see the effort in the horse's muscles, hear it in her breathing. At this pace, they will plant 2 hectares per day. Maybe 3 if they work past dark. But there are 30 hectares to plant, and only 8 days to do it. The mathematics do not work. Marie knows this, has known it since autumn when they took the second draft horse, has been trying to solve the equation ever since, working longer hours, pushing Bella harder, recruiting Sophie to help after school, begging Clotilde to work despite her arthritis. But there are limits, physical limits, mathematical limits. At 9:32 in the morning, Marie hears it, an engine, distant at first, then growing louder, coming up the dirt road that leads to the farm. She stops Bella, turns, sees the vehicle, a military truck, gray-green paint, government markings, moving fast, too fast for the rutted road. It stops in front of the farmhouse. 2 men get out. One wears a uniform, captain's insignia. The other wears civilian clothes, but carries himself like military. He has the ledger. The inspector has arrived. 3 hours early. Marie's heart does not race. She has trained herself for this. 3 inspections have taught her that panic serves no purpose. Clarity does. She hands the reins to Clotilde. Continue planting. Do not stop unless Bella shows distress. Clotilde takes the reins without question, understands without explanation. If the inspector sees them idle, he will note it. Idle farmers do not deserve resources. This is the logic of wartime. Marie walks across the field. Her boots sink into soft earth. The distance from the field to the farmhouse is 120 meters. It takes her 93 seconds to cover it. With each step, she runs calculations. The horse is old, too old for military use. This is her strongest argument. The farm is critical, produces wheat for the army. This is her second argument. She is a widow effectively, even though Henri still lives. Probably, she has no adult male to do the heavy work. This is her weakest argument, because the government does not care about her circumstances, only about production. She reaches the farmhouse. The two men wait by the truck. The captain is young, mid-20s, soft hands, clean uniform. He has the look of someone who attended university, then received a comfortable administrative posting when the war began. Safe, far from the trenches. The other man is older, 50 perhaps, gray hair, sharp eyes that take in everything: the farmhouse's crumbling mortar, the broken shutter on the second floor, the empty chicken coop where they once kept 20 hens and now keep 5. This man is dangerous, not because he is cruel, but because he is thorough. Madame Blanchard, the older man says. Yes, I am Inspector Gautier, Agricultural Ministry. This is Captain Moreau, Regional Requisition Officer. We are conducting the spring census of agricultural resources. Marie nods. The census is not scheduled until next week. The schedule has been revised. Verdun requires additional support. All farms within 80 kilometers of the front are being assessed for emergency requisition. Emergency requisition. The words hang in the air like poison gas. Emergency requisition means they do not negotiate, do not consider circumstances, do not care about harvest schedules or family survival. They take what the army needs, and what remains is your problem. I understand, Marie says, because there is nothing else to say. Inspector Gautier opens his ledger. The pages are covered in columns, numbers, categories, livestock, equipment, grain stores, land acreage, production quotas, current livestock, he says. Not a question, a command. Marie tells him, 1 horse, 17 years old, mare, draft breed. He writes, condition, fair. She has arthritis in the left rear leg. Loses stamina after 4 hours of work. He looks up, studies her face, trying to determine if she is lying. We will inspect the animal, of course. They walk to the field, all 3 of them. Captain Moreau says nothing. He is here as authority, not expertise. The inspector does the work. They reach the field. Clothild has made good progress. 2 rows completed. The cedar working smoothly, Bella pulling steady despite her age. Inspector Gautier watches for 3 minutes, says nothing. His face reveals nothing. Then he walks to Bella, runs his hands along her flanks, checks her legs, lifts each hoof, examining them, looks at her teeth, the universal measure of a horse's age. Marie watches, forces herself to breathe normally. Finally, the inspector steps back. The horse is old, but functional, capable of light agricultural work. Capable of heavy agricultural work, Marie corrects. She is pulling the cedar now. We are planting 30 hectares in 8 days. With 1 horse, this is not possible. We are making it possible. Inspector Gautier regards her. There is something in his expression, not sympathy, but perhaps recognition. He has visited many farms, seen many desperate people, knows the mathematics as well as she does. Your production quota for this year is 8,000 kilograms of wheat. Can you meet this quota with one horse? Marie does not hesitate. Yes, it is a lie, but it is a necessary lie. The inspector writes in his ledger, current grain stores, 600 kilograms, reserved for seed. Fuel stores, 42 liters of petroleum, 18 kilograms of coal, 27 cubic meters of firewood. Each answer is the truth. She has learned not to lie about things that can be verified. Metallic implements, tools, machinery, one plow, one seeder, one harrow, various hand tools, shovels, rakes, hoes, a saw, 2 hammers, 1 anvil. He writes, the scratching of pen on paper, each word a potential death sentence. Your husband's status? Serving, 2nd Corps Infantry, last known position near Verdun. The captain shifts uncomfortably. Perhaps he knows what infantry near Verdun means. The life expectancy measured in days. Children, 2. Daughter, 11 years old. Son, 8 years old. Both assist with farm work. Mother-in-law? He nods toward Clothilde. Yes, 64 years old. She works despite arthritis. Inspector Gautier closes the ledger, looks at Marie directly. Madame Blanchard, I will be candid with you. The army requires 3,000 additional horses by the end of March. Every farm in this region is being evaluated. Your horse, despite her age, is functional. That makes her eligible for requisition. Marie feels the words like a physical blow, but she does not show it. Without the horse, I cannot meet the production quota. If you cannot meet the quota, the farm will be reassigned to collective management. Collective farms produce less. Everyone knows this. Nevertheless, this is policy. They stand in silence. The wind blows across the field. Bella snorts. The cedar creaks. Marie makes her decision. Inspector Gautier, may I show you something? Marie leads them to the orchard. 12 apple trees in 3 rows. Old trees, planted by her grandfather in 1863. They have survived wars, droughts, plagues of insects, killing frosts. 3 of the trees are dying, bark peeling, branches bare, victims of neglect. There is no time to prune, to treat, to care for anything beyond immediate survival. But 9 trees still live, and in the spring they will blossom. In the autumn they will fruit, and those apples will feed her children through winter. These trees, Marie says, produce 400 kilograms of apples per year. We preserve 200 kilograms, sell 100 kilograms at market, feed 100 kilograms fresh to the family and livestock. Inspector Gautier listens. His expression is neutral. Marie continues, without the horse, I cannot transport apples to market, cannot till the soil beneath the trees, cannot haul manure for fertilization. The trees will decline. Within 2 years, they will be dead. This is unfortunate, the inspector says, but the war requires sacrifices. I am not asking for sympathy. I am stating mathematics. This farm produces 8,000 kilograms of wheat per year, 400 kilograms of apples, 200 kilograms of potatoes, 60 kilograms of beans, 25 chickens per year. These numbers represent food for soldiers. She lets that sink in, then presses forward. If you take the horse, wheat production drops to 0, apple production drops to 0, potato production drops to 0, everything drops to 0. The farm fails. You gain 1 old horse. You lose 9,000 kilograms of food per year. Inspector Gautier is silent, thinking. Captain Moreau speaks for the first time. The army needs horses now. Future food production is speculation. Marie turns to face him. This soft boy in his clean uniform. Captain, how many horses do you need? 3,000. How many farms like mine will you destroy to get them? As many as necessary. And when those farms stop producing, where will the food come from? He has no answer. Marie turns back to Inspector Gautier. I am offering a trade. Let me keep the horse. I will increase my quota. 9,000 kilograms of wheat this year instead of 8,000. Delivered by October 15th. The inspector's eyes narrow. You just said you could barely meet 8,000 with one horse. I said I would make it possible. I did not say it would be easy. An additional 1,000 kilograms is impossible. Then take the horse. Destroy the farm. Lose 9,000 kilograms per year, every year, until the war ends. This is your choice. It is a bluff. A desperate, dangerous bluff. She cannot produce 9,000 kilograms, can barely produce 8,000. But she is betting that the inspector values certainty over risk, a functioning farm over a requisitioned horse. Inspector Gautier looks at his ledger, runs calculations in his head. Finally, he says, I will make a note in your file, provisional exemption based on critical production status. You have until October 15th to deliver 9,000 kilograms of wheat. If you fail, the horse is forfeit retroactively, and the farm will be reassigned. Marie's knees nearly buckle with relief, but she does not show it. Understood. Furthermore, you will accept 2 agricultural workers, refugees from the occupied zone. They will assist with planting and harvest. You will feed them, house them, and ensure they meet productivity standards. 2 more mouths to feed, 2 more bodies to house, but 2 more pairs of hands to work. Accepted. Inspector Gautier writes in his ledger. His pen scratches across paper, recording the agreement. When he finishes, he tears out a small slip, a receipt, proof of the arrangement. Keep this. If other inspectors arrive, show them this paper. It grants temporary exemption until October 15th. Marie takes the paper, folds it carefully, places it in her pocket next to her heart. The inspector and the captain return to their truck. The engine roars to life. They drive away, leaving dust and diesel fumes hanging in the air. Marie stands alone in the orchard. She does not move for 63 seconds. Then her legs give out. She sits hard on the cold ground. Her hands shake. The adrenaline that sustained her through the confrontation drains away, leaving exhaustion behind. She has won, temporarily. But the price is impossible. 9,000 kilograms, with 1 horse, with 2 refugees who may or may not know farming, with 8 days to plant 30 hectares. The mathematics still do not work. But she has time now, 8 months. 8 months to solve an impossible equation. She sits in the orchard for 7 minutes, allowing herself this moment of weakness. Then she stands, brushes dirt from her skirt, returns to the field. Clotilde is waiting. What happened? We keep the horse. At what cost? Everything. Clotilde nods. Understands. Then we had better get to work. At 1:17 in the afternoon, they stop for lunch. Not a meal. A pause, 10 minutes of rest before resuming work. Marie sits on the ground at the field's edge. Clotilde sits beside her. They share a canteen of water and a small piece of bread. No conversation. Breathing is more important. Bella stands in her harness, head low, breathing hard. 3 hours of pulling. Her flanks are dark with sweat despite the cold. Marie watches her carefully, looking for signs of distress. The horse is managing, barely. Sophie appears, running across the field. She carries something wrapped in cloth. "Maman," she calls. "A letter came." Marie's heart clenches. A letter. From Henri, or from the army, delivering news no wife wants to receive? Sophie arrives breathless. Hands over the cloth bundle. Inside is not just a letter, but also a small package. The letter is from Henri. Marie recognizes his handwriting immediately. Her hands shake as she opens it. "My dearest Marie, I write this from a dugout 20 meters behind the front line. The sound of artillery is constant, a strange thunder that never stops. We have grown so accustomed to it that silence now seems unnatural. I cannot tell you where we are. Censorship forbids it, but I can tell you that I am alive, whole, grateful for every day that passes without incident. The conditions are difficult, but we endure. We must endure, for France, for our children, for the world we are trying to preserve. I think of you constantly, wonder how you manage the farm, worry about the planting season. I know you are strong, stronger than you believe. You will find a way. I have sent a small gift, something I found in the ruins of a village we passed through. It is not much, but I wanted you to have something beyond words. Tell the children I love them. Tell my mother I am well. Tell yourself that I am coming home. All my love, Henri." The letter is dated March 2nd, 12 days ago. In 12 days, everything could have changed. He could be wounded, captured, dead. But for now, in this moment, he is alive. His words prove it. Marie opens the package. Inside is a small mirror. The frame is tarnished silver, decorated with delicate flowers. The glass is intact, miraculously unbroken, despite its journey from the front. She looks at her reflection, sees a woman she barely recognizes, gaunt, exhausted, hair gray at the temples, though she is only 41, eyes that have seen too much. Henri sent her a mirror, so she could see herself, remember herself, remember that she exists beyond the farm, beyond the war, beyond survival. She presses the mirror to her chest, closes her eyes, allows herself 30 seconds of emotion, of missing him, of fear, of love. Then she puts the mirror away, returns the letter to its envelope, stands. "We continue," she says. But as they return to work, the sky changes. Clouds roll in from the west, heavy, dark, pregnant with rain. Rain means delay. Wet soil cannot be planted. The seeds will rot. The entire schedule will collapse. Marie watches the clouds, calculates the time. If the rain holds off for 3 more hours, they can plant another hectare, maybe 2. If the rain comes now, they lose the day. At 2:41, the first drops fall, light at first. A sprinkle, maybe it will pass, maybe the clouds will move on. But at 2:49, the sky opens. Rain comes in sheets, cold, hard, soaking through clothes in seconds, turning the field into mud. Clotilde shouts over the downpour, "We must stop. The cedar will bog down." Marie knows she is right. But stopping means losing time they do not have. She makes a decision. "Unhitch Bella. Get her to the barn. I will secure the cedar." Clotilde moves quickly despite her age, unbuckles the harness, leads Bella away through the rain. Marie works alone, covering the seed hopper with canvas, securing the mechanism, making sure nothing is damaged. Rain pounds her back, soaks her hair, runs in rivers down her face. By the time she finishes, she is drenched, shivering, but the equipment is safe. She runs to the barn. Her boots slip in mud. She falls once, catches herself, keeps moving. Inside the barn, Clotilde is toweling down Bella. The horse is shaking, stressed from the sudden storm, but unharmed. Marie strips off her coat, wrings out her scarf. Water drips onto the floor, forming puddles. "How long will this last?" Clotilde asks. Marie looks out at the storm. "Hours, maybe all night. And tomorrow? If the field is too wet, we lose another day." The mathematics shift again. 8 days to plant 30 hectares, minus 1 day for rain, minus possibly another for wet soil. 6 days, 30 hectares, 1 horse? Impossible. Sophie and Luke appear in the barn doorway, both soaked, both frightened by the suddenness of the storm. Marie gathers them close. It is all right. It is only rain. But Luke asks the question she has been avoiding. "Maman, will we have enough food this winter?" She looks down at his small face, 8 years old, too young to carry this burden, but carrying it anyway. "Yes," she lies. "We will have enough." The rain stops at 6:13 in the evening. As suddenly as it began, the storm passes. The clouds break apart. Sunlight slants through gaps, turning the wet fields into mirrors of gold. Marie stands in the barn doorway, assessing, calculating. The field is saturated. Puddles reflect the sky. The soil will take at least 24 hours to drain, possibly 48. This is time they do not have. But there is nothing to do about weather. Weather is God's domain, not hers. She can only adapt. Clotilde joins her. Together they watch the sunset paint the clouds red and orange. "We have lost a day," Clotilde says. "Yes, we will lose tomorrow as well, probably. The refugees arrive in 3 days. That gives us help, but also more mouths." Marie nods. Has already calculated this. 2 workers means faster planting, but 2 workers means more food needed, more space in the house, more complexity. "We will manage," Marie says. "How?" It is a fair question. How does one manage the impossible? Marie does not answer immediately. She watches the light fade, watches the first stars appear in the clearing sky. Finally, she says, "By doing what we have always done, we wake up, we work, we survive, and tomorrow we do it again." It is not a strategy. It is simply determination, but sometimes determination is enough. At 7:22, they return to the house. Dinner waits. Sophie has prepared it a thin soup made from potato peels and onion, a single slice of bread per person, the last of the cheese, divided into portions so small they barely constitute a bite. They eat in silence. The meal is finished in 8 minutes. After dinner, Marie handles the evening chores, feeding the chickens, checking the rabbit hutch, 3 rabbits, kept for breeding, securing the barn doors, banking the fire in the stove. Each task is performed with precise attention. In wartime, carelessness kills. A forgotten latch means a fox gets the chickens. An unbanked fire means wasted fuel. Every detail matters. At 8:47, she sits at the kitchen table, alone. Clotilde has taken the children to bed. The house is quiet. Marie unfolds the inspector's receipt, reads it again. Provisional exemption, 9,000 kilograms, October 15th. 8 months to produce 1,000 kilograms more than last year. With the same resources, with less time, she takes out paper, a pencil, begins calculating. 30 hectares. Average yield is 270 kilograms per hectare. That gives 8,100 kilograms. She needs 9,000. To reach 9,000, she needs to increase yield by 11%, or plant more hectares. She has no more hectares. The farm is 30 hectares. All of it is planted every year. There is no reserve land, so yield must increase. But how? More fertilizer. But fertilizer is controlled by the government, rationed. She gets what she gets. Better seed. But she is using the best seed available. The government provides it. All farmers get the same seed. More care, more attention, more labor. This is the only variable she can control. Work harder, work longer, work smarter. But there are limits. She is already working 16 hours per day. Clotilde works 12 despite her age. The children work when they can. And yet, she must find a way, because the alternative is losing everything. Marie sets down her pencil, rubs her eyes. She is so tired, bone tired, soul tired. For a moment, she allows herself to imagine a different life. A life where Henri is home, where the war never happened, where the children laugh instead of worry, where food is abundant and work is optional. But that life does not exist. Perhaps it never existed. Perhaps hardship is simply the price of living. She folds the paper, puts away the pencil, stands. Tomorrow, the field will still be wet. But there is other work, repairing tools, mending harnesses, preparing for the refugees' arrival. There is always work. At 9:03 in the evening, there is a knock at the door. Marie freezes. No one visits after dark, not in wartime, not in rural France where everyone goes to bed with the sun. A knock after dark means bad news, military news. She walks to the door. Her heart pounds. She opens it. A soldier stands on the threshold, young, maybe 20, mud-caked uniform, exhausted eyes. Madame Blanchard? Yes, I bring a message. From your husband? Not from the army. From Henri. This soldier has come from the front, directly from the front. Henri is alive? Marie asks. Yes, madame. I saw him 2 days ago. He asked me to bring you this. The soldier holds out an envelope, sealed with wax. Marie takes it. Her hands shake. Thank you, she whispers. The soldier nods. He also asked me to tell you something. He said to tell you that he believes in you, that he knows you can do the impossible, that he will come home to a farm that survives. Marie's throat tightens. She cannot speak. The soldier continues. He is in a difficult position, madame. The fighting at Verdun it is very bad. But he is strong. He is surviving. He wants you to know this. Will you rest here tonight? Marie asks. I can offer you a bed, food. I cannot, madame. I must return to my unit. I am on leave for only 12 hours. I have 6 hours of walking ahead of me. Then take this. Marie goes to the pantry, takes one of the 4 loaves of bread, wraps it in cloth, returns to the soldier. For your journey, he hesitates. Madame, I cannot take your food. You already have. By bringing me hope. He accepts the bread, nods once, turns and walks into the darkness. Marie closes the door, stands alone in the kitchen, opens the envelope. Inside is a single page, Henri's handwriting, hurried, scrawled. Marie, they are sending us forward tomorrow, into the worst of it. I do not know if I will survive. I must tell you now what I have not had courage to say before. You are the strongest person I have ever known, stronger than any soldier, stronger than any general. You carry the weight of the world and you do not break. If I do not return, you will continue. You will raise our children. You will keep the farm alive. You will endure. I know this with certainty, but I hope I do return. I hope I see you again. I hope I can look into your eyes and tell you that everything we suffered was worth it because we survived together. I love you. I have always loved you. I will love you until my last breath. Henri? Marie reads the letter 3 times. Then she folds it carefully, places it in her pocket with the inspector's receipt and the mirror. 3 objects, 3 pieces of her life. Inspector's demands, Henri's love, her own reflection. She stands in the kitchen for a long time, not moving, not thinking, simply existing in the weight of it all. Then she banks the fire, blows out the lamp, goes upstairs. The children are asleep in their room, Sophie curled around Luc, protecting him even in dreams. Clothilde sleeps in the next room, snoring softly. Marie undresses in the dark, slips into bed. The sheets are cold. The space beside her is empty. She lies awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to the house settle, the wind outside, the distant, almost imperceptible rumble of artillery from Verdun. 62 kilometers away, Henri stands in a trench, waiting for dawn, waiting for the order to go forward, into the machine guns, into the artillery, into the place where men become statistics. Here, Marie lies in bed, waiting for dawn, waiting for the soil to dry, for the planting to continue, for the refugees to arrive, for October 15th when her promise must be kept. 2 different battles, 2 different front lines, both fighting for the same thing, survival. Act 3. The reckoning, denouement. Marie does not sleep. At 3:37 in the morning, she gives up trying, rises, dresses in the dark. Downstairs, she lights the lamp, starts the fire, makes the ersatz coffee. While the water heats, she takes out Henri's letter, reads it again, memorizes every word. You are the strongest person I have ever known. She does not feel strong. She feels exhausted, terrified, overwhelmed. But perhaps strength is not the absence of fear. Perhaps strength is continuing despite fear, getting up every morning even when hope seems impossible, planting fields even when the mathematics do not work, feeding children even when food is scarce. Perhaps this is what Henri sees, what he has always seen. The kettle whistles. She pours the coffee, sits at the table, watches the sky begin to pale through the window. In 3 hours, she will check the field, see if the soil has drained enough for work. In 3 days, the refugees will arrive. 2 strangers she must feed, house, and turn into farmers. In 8 months, 9,000 kilograms of wheat must be delivered to the government depot. In some unknown time, weeks, months, years, the war will end. Henri will come home, or he will not. She cannot control any of these futures. She can only control today, this moment, this breath. Marie finishes her coffee, sets down the cup, puts on her coat. At 4:53 in the morning, she walks to the barn, opens the door, lights the lamp. Bella raises her head, recognizes Marie, nickers softly. Marie approaches, runs her hand along the horse's neck, feels the warmth, the life. We have impossible work ahead, old girl, Marie says quietly, more than we can possibly manage, more than any reasonable person would attempt. The horse nudges her shoulder, trusting, patient. But we are not reasonable people. We are farmers. We do impossible things every day. We take seeds and make them into food. We take empty fields and make them abundant. We take despair and make it into hope. She rests her forehead against Bella's neck, breathes in the familiar smell of horse and hay and leather. Tomorrow we plant. The day after we plant. Every day until it is done. And in October we will have 9,000 kilograms of wheat, because we must, because people depend on us, because this is who we are. It is not a prayer, not a promise, simply a statement of intent. Marie steps back, looks at Bella, the old horse, who is too old for war, but perfect for survival. We will endure, Marie says, because that is what we do. Outside, the sun rises over the field. Light spreads across wet soil, turning puddles into mirrors of gold. The storm has passed. The sky is clear. A new day begins. Marie Blanchard returns to the house, wakes her family, serves breakfast, gathers the tools. At 7:04 in the morning, she walks to the field, tests the soil. It is still wet, but workable. Barely. She makes a decision. They will plant today, slowly, carefully, but they will plant. Clotilde brings Bella and the cedar. Sophie and Luke come to help, even though they should be at school. There is no school today. The teacher has been called to work in a munitions factory. Education is suspended until further notice. So the children work instead, dropping seeds by hand into furrows, covering them with soil, small hands doing the work of adults. The family works together. 1 horse, 4 people, 30 hectares of impossible promise. By noon, they have planted half a hectare. At this rate, it will take 60 days to finish. They have 6 days, but they do not stop. Do not despair. Do not surrender. They simply continue. Seed by seed, row by row, hour by hour. This is survival in 1916. Not dramatic, not heroic, simply relentless. At 1:37 in the afternoon, Marie looks up, sees a figure approaching across the field, 2 figures, carrying bundles, the refugees. 3 days early, they are women. 1 young, maybe 20. 1 older, perhaps 50. Both thin, both exhausted, both carrying everything they own in canvas sacks. They reach Marie, stand waiting. Uncertain, the younger woman speaks. Her accent is from farther east, Belgium, perhaps, or occupied France. We are sent by the agricultural ministry to work. Marie looks at them, sees herself reflected. Women doing impossible work because there is no other choice. Can you plow? Marie asks. I can learn. Can you plant? I can learn. Marie nods. Then learn quickly. We have 6 days to plant 30 hectares. The young woman's eyes widen. She understands the mathematics, knows it is impossible, but she simply says, "We will try." Marie hands her a sack of seed, points to the empty furrows, then let us begin. 6 people now, 1 horse, 30 hectares, 6 days. The mathematics still do not work, but they work anyway, because this is France in 1916, and in France in 1916, impossible is simply another word for necessary.